Hey everybody, Harry here to talk about the Proud Boys seditious conspiracy trial currently happening in Washington, D.C. Okay, just to review the bidding here, we have Enrique Tarrio, the head of the Proud Boys, and 4 other defendants facing charges on seditious conspiracy. That is top of the charts. It's the charge that the Department of Justice has brought rarely in recent years before the whole January 6th set of defendants. They've now successfully brought twice, and here is their third trial. But it's basically that they conspired to overthrow or impair the government with violence. Okay. It's been going on for weeks, and the strategy of the defense seems to be to just cause, bedlam and make it a circus atmosphere. There are 5 defendants all crowded around the same counsel table, and they are basically pulling stunts. For those of you who have heard Ultra, the great podcast by Rachel Maddow about the fascism in the 40s that so few people now know about. That's just what happened then. There was a trial that went on for months and months and months because of this circus atmosphere. And eventually the judge died and it just ended. They never got a conviction. So that might be in the history playbook that they are emulating. By the way, we did a really good one-on-one interview with Rachel Maddow on just this, so you could go to it, check it out, and it'll tell you a lot about this crazy episode in the 40s. But back to our crazy episode in the 2020s. So a couple really bizarre things happened this week. First, there was testimony that Enrique Tarrio basically had this symbiotic relationship with a Metropolitan DC police officer who was feeding him information. A little bit stunning. They had an FBI special agent testify as an expert. Does this ever happen? Has it ever happened? Never, said the agent. It just doesn't work that way. That might be overstating it a little, but it comes as a surprise, and maybe as a surprise to his Proud Boys co-defendant, to learn that Tarrio is feeding them information apparently about, the Proud Boys side of things while receiving information from this officer who is now clammed up, pleaded the fifth, and isn't talking. But through emails and other transmissions, we know that a couple weeks before they arrested Tarrio, he let Tarrio know, did Shane Lamont, this DC police officer, that they were planning to do it. At a certain point in the investigation, when it was mainly the DC police and not the FBI that was involved, Officer Lamont told Tarrio that, and Tarrio responded, "Good." Obviously meaning, well, if it's just you guys, I've got you and my good connection, I feel safe. If it's the FBI, which of course it became, not as good. So, that's, was actually put in front of the jury and makes sort of more, mysterious, but also, potentially more, it inculpates, Tarrio, who, remember, he was already a weird figure. He was the head, but he wasn't there on January 6th because he'd been arrested for a role in an assault, an attack on a African-American church. Anyway, this he's obviously being painted as, the leader who goes his own way, but is the sort of, force behind the seditious conspiracy agreement. All right, that's one unusual development. The other has just happened in the last couple days. The 5 defendants have made it known that they would like to subpoena for their defense when it begins in a couple weeks, Donald Trump. So they have an interesting argument. They haven't formally subpoenaed him yet, but they're saying he's the one that can prove that the plan basically came from him. We were just there, but we didn't really agree with him or not. We were there because we were called out by our fearless leader, wanted to be there, and then things just happened from there, and we need Donald Trump to testify. It's a funny thing because Trump is now a private citizen. If he were a president, it would be very easy to quash. I think that the court here will be inclined to say, no, you don't get Donald Trump. They have to make a stronger showing of his being indispensable to the defense. But they could try to make that showing, given that it's a seditious conspiracy charge, and so it really is sort of put into motion. Remember the whole, okay, Proud Boys, stand ready. I'm butchering the exact phrase, but you remember stand up and stand down or whatever. So they're saying, we need Trump to testify. Now, I think we can look at this as a gambit, one of many, to just try to make confusion, tie up the trial, maybe generate an issue on appeal for Judge Kelly, the judge who's presiding over their trial. And, basically the evidence against them is strong, so try to create a kind of chaos. Anyway, that's what's going on in the chaotic trial to date. 2 more weeks or so for the prosecution, and the showcase witness is coming up, we think, next week, a man named Jeremy Bertino, who was the head of the North Carolina chapter of the Proud Boys, and the prosecution, and this is the sort of bread and butter play of the DOJ, they charged him with seditious conspiracy, got him to plead guilty and cooperate. Seditious conspiracy packs a very heavy penalty, and Bertino looked in the eye and said, okay, I'll talk. I will betray my former, Confederates and the Proud Boys and tell you what happened. And that's, on the one hand, he'll be able to be impeached by the other side, but this is the strongest kind of testimony. It's what's sort of happening in general, right? Even with Donald Trump. Whom can they get to cooperate? Could they get Mark Meadows, for example? So that's the kind of stock in trade of the DOJ, and they've got it all lined up to start next week. That, I think, could be a big event, what Bertino reveals, especially about their kind of inner workings leading up to the plan to come and make trouble on the 6th. So that's something I think we'll want to be following. I'll be looking to listen to it, break it down, and explain it to you when Bertino does take the stand. Until then, talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.